how long will it take for Congress to elect a speaker? That's the question on the minds of many. Democrats today criticizing the GOP's ability to govern as a group of 20 Republicans bands together to oppose Kevin McCarthy for Speaker, instead casting their votes for Congressman Byron Donalds. NTD's Melina Weisskopf has more updates live from Capitol Hill. Melina, walk us through the votes and what this delay in electing a speaker means for how Congress functions right now.
Hi, Don. Good evening. Good to hear from you. So 6 rounds of voting later and still nothing has changed. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy is still falling short of those votes needed to secure the gavel. And instead of gaining support today, he actually lost another vote with Representative Victoria Spartz withdrawing her support from McCarthy and casting a vote as present instead. Now, as for how this is affecting Congress, Don, Congress is essentially hamstrung right now. They can't really do anything until they elect a speaker, that being the first order of business in a new Congress. They can't even swear in members right now, as a matter of fact. And this has given Democrats an opportunity to criticize Republicans, saying that they're causing confusion and chaos over this. For example, Representative Ted Lieu, who's the vice chairman of the Democrat caucus, told me that they simply can't function. They can't hold oversight hearings. They can't hold committee hearings or do much of anything until this position is secured. Now, let's listen to the Democrats' message around this, as well as how those Republican opposers who are delaying this process are pushing back.
The contrast between House Democrats on the chaos and confusion taking place on the other side of the aisle could not be more clear. For the first time in 100 years, there was not an agreement for Speaker of the House on the first ballot.
Because we all acknowledge and we all know that Washington is broken, we must take a new path. There must be a new vision so that Congress works for the American people. Because the American people are watching what's happening here, and they've watched what's happened here, and they're sure in their hearts, and they can prove it, that this town works for this town.
So that's Representative Scott Perry, who's the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus. He's also been one of those leading voices opposing McCarthy's speakership. On that 6th round, he nominated Byron Donalds, and Byron Donalds was nominated during all 3 rounds of the voting today, with those 20 Republicans maintaining solid support behind Byron Donalds, opposing McCarthy. This is even though Byron Donalds says that he's not necessarily particularly interested in the speakership position, saying that he just feels it's his responsibility to help Republicans do things in a more constructive way, and he says he wants to help with that in any way that he can. And it's important to note that this comes even after former President Donald Trump endorsed Kevin McCarthy, warning those opposing Republicans to not turn a great triumph into a giant and embarrassing defeat. But even that message from former President Trump, which was sent out ahead of today's voting, was not enough to change the minds of those 20 Republican opposers. Dawn, the House has adjourned tonight until 8 p.m., where they could come back and continue voting. Maybe something has changed. They're negotiating right now. Kevin McCarthy is with those opposers. So we'll have to see how this unfolds tonight or maybe even a couple of days from now. Dawn, we'll toss it back to you.
All right, thank you very much for the updates, Melina. And we'll be keeping a close eye on the story as it continues to develop.